what's up, y'all? You already know who it is. Target individual CJBK. I am on my way to work. You see me walking, that means damn bus either ran early or it ran late and I missed it. uh, I just seen a bus going back the other way, but I'm like 4 or 5 blocks from the train station, so it depends on if that bus catches up with me or if I get to the train station before the bus. Either way. So just letting y'all know I'm all right. I have been noticing some changes in my breathing a lot more. It's like the feeling of feeling like something, like you're full, but you know you're not necessarily full. It's like, this is how you know there's some other inorganic material that's inside of your body, because something is filling up my like chest cavity or my thoracic area. Something has me feeling full. It's not fluid. It's not like natural gas, because the feeling is, it's not like in the stomach or whatever. It's in the chest. It's in the chest. It like feels like it's in the, and by the lungs. But those of us who have been doing the research on aerosolized nanotechnology, and those who understand that all things, including atoms, have a mass, and if enough of a particular particle, whether it's a nano size or if it's big as a building or whatever, it has a weight, it has a mass to it. So when you think about how they're testing out this global digitization and then the spread of nanobots and throughout the world, and everyone's supposed to be linked to this system and stuff, you begin to remember that nano is damn near able to pass through the blood-brain barrier. It's able to pass through skin. It's able to pass through the air sacs in your lungs. Is able to pass through tissues in the body, things of that sort. And if it has a positive charge to it, well, that's also adding even more weight or energy to your body. I got a bunch of other videos and stuff that I gotta upload, but I've been so tired lately or distracted from posting, and I be trying not to let the whole gang stalking thing take control over me, how I normally function, and how I function within a relationship. But when your neighbors and even some of your co-workers, if you're working, or just there's a lot of people involved in this system of human trafficking to basically test out this technology on you. Well, we're actually getting the weaponized version of the technology, while those who are obedient, those who basically obey the commands of their handlers and whatnot, they basically get the so-called treats of the technology. They're the ones who get the increased memory capacity, or the increased visual, the increased ability to see more spectrum of light, or they get certain abilities. Synthetic, all of it synthetic. And just as I said that they basically sent a frequency into my brain, to be decoded or whatever it is that they're trying to do at this moment. But I always know when they're trying to tune something specifically, it's because every time I think a certain way or I mention something specifically pertaining to how something I believe works, they try to see if they can, I guess, control or manipulate that thought process or whatever. So whatever. Anyway, you can see I'm trying to walk and it's kind of hard to breathe, but I haven't done my qigong exercise lately to try to pull out any like excess energy that's in my chest. So right now my chest feels full. It's like, imagine someone put a whoopee cushion in your chest, right? And then they just started filling it up with air. And you feel like you're trying to expand your chest to breathe, but you can't expand your chest because there's something blocking there's something blocking you from being able to expand your chest. Or imagine if like there's a baby sitting on your chest and you can't expand your chest. That's basically what it feels like. That's what the mass of the energy feels like as they're directing it onto my chest. Or if they're directing it onto your chest, it feels as if there's a baby sitting on your chest. And I mean like a 1-year-old or yeah. Now, I always like try to keep in mind that everybody that's aware of this system aren't actually a part of it or for it. Most of them are going along with it just so that they can basically, I guess, save themselves or save their family or whatever. But the problem is, well, as much as they talk about, oh, the streets are watching you, oh, the streets is this, the streets is that, every single day we turn on the news. What do we see? If it ain't politicians in suits, it's somebody else that's, well, looking like they ain't a politician in a suit, but they sure are doing something. And these are the same people that are basically, and nobody ever want to have that conversation. That we basically entertain and we give power to the very things that we actually dislike about our environment. But we don't ever want to actually take accountability for the things that we allow to be in our environment. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a conversation that won't ever be had unless the root to what creates these people is to actually be shut down. But when there's so much dirty money involved in the manifestation or the simulation of so many people's lives that are living in these environments, well, that shit ain't going nowhere. They done left the school bus door open. Anyway, yeah, I'm just trying, y'all. I really am. I try to stay focused on, scripture. I try to keep myself in tune with the universe. And, what's even more interesting, if you have Netflix, you should definitely watch this docu-series called Ancient Apocalypse. And it's basically an 8-episode series or documentary about civilizations of the past that seem to be highly, advanced for their time periods. And when you understand like the mythological stories behind some of the structures that they built or some of the things that they were doing at that time, it always kind of come down to either some great knowledgeable people or entities, came down out of nowhere and taught them how to do these things. And, for whatever reason, there was always a serpent somewhere around. There was always a serpent somewhere around, basically there to, in a sense, be ready to swallow everyone up. Anytime there was destruction of a civilization of old, there was some serpent somewhere nearby, or the mention of a serpent, And with this whole gang stalking stuff, man, and the technology behind it all, the manipulation, the violence, the secrecy. I mean, we're literally on the cusp of becoming like several of the civilizations in the past. We want to continue to ignore the fact that all the satellites that we have up in space that's beaming down all this light energy down to Earth, it's actually having a negative effect on the Earth itself. We think the majority, we want to believe that the majority of pollution that's causing the climate changes is mostly like greenhouse gases and the extra carbon and stuff coming from smog like cities and whatnot. But we're also forgetting the fact that synthetic electromagnetic radiation from electronic devices, they give off heat too. And then when you also think about it, the aerosolized nanobots that's in the air, that's floating down to the earth, that's soaking into the soil, getting into the trees, all that stuff. That's actually heating the earth too, because remember, most of it is like nanometals. It's like very tiny metals, and it's highly conductive material. So if it's highly conductive material, that means it's absorbing energy from wherever. And when you think about it, the earth is slowly destabilizing because of this technology, right? So, and I don't know how many of you keep an eye on, news about ice shells breaking off and floating and whatnot towards warmer climates where they eventually melt down and then raise the sea levels. But recently one just broke off. They said it was about the size of like Maine or maybe even larger than Maine. But they just said one huge piece had broke off and now it's floating towards the equator. It broke off from Antarctica and now it's floating towards the equator, where it's basically going to melt down into liquid and raise the sea level. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be something for them to figure out at some point. But even with all that's going on, I still continue to maintain my peace. I still continue to maintain my innocence. No matter what, these gang stalkers, their whole agenda is basically to try to make you like them. That's their whole agenda. Their whole agenda is to make people who are not like them. So if you aren't out here running around doing the same things that everybody else is doing, they're looking for ways to try to get you involved too. If they can get you corrupted, it'll make them feel comfortable. It'll make them feel better. Because it's hard to do bad if not everybody is doing bad. Because if everybody isn't doing bad, then that means there's someone out there that's going to be, likely to want to, you know, correct you in a sense. But I just always try to live my life the best I can, doing as much right as I can. I was never a follower. I was always usually very highly independent. I never like taking opportunities. I ain't never think through myself. I don't even, most of the time, if I didn't ask for it, I ain't gonna take it. So, I mean, when you think about it, how many of you actually asked to have nanotechnology placed in your body and then someone given control and access to your mind, your personality?